Hi guys, to our final Bearkat countdown. My name is Shaylin Goodwin, and I'm joined here with Hunter King and Donovan.
Yeah, Donovan Washington. How y'all doing today?
It's good to be here.
Yeah, super excited. Super excited to be here. So we are homecoming week. We are going up against Southern Utah.
Yes.
And how are we feeling? How are we feeling about last week's game? I know it was a blowout. So
yeah, let's talk about that. So last week, Bearcats come back to Huntsville. You know, they were on a road trip. They went to Eastern Kentucky. They went to Utah, St. George, Utah. And then they came back to Huntsville, and things were looking okay according to Casey Keeler during practice during the week. And so they did fine during practice, and then they go out on the field and something happened. You know, they struggled against ACU, the Wildcats from Abilene Christian, and you know, they did struggle a lot, especially on defense early on. We saw the Wildcats take a 21-0 lead early on. But obviously, throughout the game, it was apparent that the team was lacking leadership. And Casey Keeler talked about that during media day during the press conference on media day. And he talked about how those injuries and those red-shirted players were not able to give that team the veteran leadership that they needed to have, which they usually do have,
right,
and BJ Foster and things like that. So they went out there and they did struggle, both on defense and on offense. They started clicking towards the second half, but by then it was out of reach for the team. And so you heard that a lot from Casey Keeler. He actually talked about, too, in the media day package, which we'll see later on in the show, he talked about how he was embarrassed. You know, you don't hear that a lot from Casey Keeler. So some strong language, but obviously, you know, coming off of some huge road wins against Utah Tech and Eastern Kentucky, you know, you expect a lot from your team. Tarleton too, you know, they won big there in Stephenville. So you expect a lot from your team, and then when you go out and you get blown out in the first quarter, you know, like that, it's a little tough for you to go into the press conference afterwards and say some positive things. But overall, you know, we did see that this team is capable of coming back. A very young team was out on the field last week. You know, we saw a lot of new faces. So, you know, for the circumstances, they did a good job.
Yeah, and the problem with that was Abilene Christian got a lot of short fields. There were just a lot of miscues early on in the game, and that led to them going up 21-0. Now, by that time, it was just a struggle. You know, it's kind of hard for college teams, FCS respectfully, it's kind of hard for them to come back from 21-0. So at that time, it's just like, you know, kind of like, what are we doing? You know, it's kind of like a struggle. And they ended up losing the game 45-28, you know, reeling off 14 points in each half. But I feel like this week they're going to rebound. I feel like last week, you know, it just got caught with the bad game, you know, a lot of miscues, just not focus, lack of focus, as you like to say. And
Yeah.
I truly do feel like that this week they will bounce back, even though the weather is not in their favor. I think they will bounce back this week.
Yeah, and that's a good point, too. The weather is going to be a factor in this one. Last week it was cold, but, you know, it's going to be similar conditions this week. So.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to key players. Key players for this week. Who do y'all have? Who do you think is going to be most important?
Donovan, you want to take a shot first?
Yes, I think it has to be Keegan Shoemaker. I know last week he had his best game, but I just feel like overall this season it's just been a lot of ups and downs. You know, six touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completing under 50%, around the 45-46% mark. I just feel like that even though this game is coming up where they're probably going to have to ask him to do less, he just has to make the throws when it counts. You know, not so-called be the hero, but be the game manager. You know, just hit the throws that if the read is there, just hit him. You know, you're going to have the running game is going to be strong this game. So, which I also feel like the running back room will be a part of the key players too, because I feel like that, you know, with cold and it's going to be cold, it's going to be raining. I just feel like they're going to need to pound the rock. They average 4 yards a carry. that's not something. That sets them up for 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. So now you open up the playbook with that. So I really do feel like those two will be the main key players in which they're going to win this.
Yeah, well, we'll see how many times Shoemaker is under center this week, because I think they also want to try and mix in some of Trapper Panel's game into the game. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as my key player of the game, I'm going to have to go with, just the running backs in general. But, we've seen big games from Zach Urbachik this year. The future is bright for that young man. I think he's going to have a big career here at Sam Houston. And, moving into FBS, he's going to get a lot of spotlight on him over the next few seasons. So, that's a player to watch. I do think, too, if we do see Trapper Panel a lot in this game, I am interested in seeing how he plays. Obviously, the weather is going to be a factor today. It's cold, it's rainy, so we'll see how that works out. It is tough, especially if you are Trapper Panel coming in and you're trying to impress the coaches and scouts and everything. It is tough playing in these conditions, So we'll see how he does. I don't expect this small sample size today from Trapper Panel to be reflective really because of the weather, of how much he's capable of doing for this team. But we'll see. It's definitely interesting. This team, there's so much unknown because we're going into a new conference next year, and then we have new players that we're going to see on the field. But guys like Zach Urbachik, they're going to be here for a while, and I think they're going to leave a good impression on this team.
Right. Well, and like I was saying earlier in the semester or earlier in the season, the mojo there is just a little different. It's different than it has been previously. And so to see how the players adapt now is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Future two-time Walter Payton Award winner Jeremiah Briscoe came off the bench to throw for 211 yards, including a 55-yard score to Yediah Lewis with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left to play to lead the Bearkats to win over Southern Utah in the opening round of the 2015 FCS playoffs. The Cats trailed 39-26 early in the third quarter, but scored the game's final 16 points to advance to a showdown at McNeese the following week. The shootout saw the teams combine for over 1,100 total yards of offense. Two Cats, Ridgway Frank and Remus Bloomer, each went for 100 yards on the ground, while Frank and Corey Avery each rushed for 2 touchdowns apiece. Up next, we will join Kendall and Chris for Cat on the Street.
My name is Kendall Morris, and we are here on Sam Houston's campus to ask students questions they probably can't answer. This is Cat on the Street. I'm Cheney Marriott.
I'm Lily Charlo.
Okay, so I'm just going to be asking you a couple questions. Just give the best answer that you can, okay? All right. So did you know that this week is Sam Houston's homecoming?
I did. I thought it was last week.
Okay. And what is the theme for homecoming this week?
That's such a good question. Can we phone a friend?
You can phone a friend.
Hey!
What's the theme for homecoming this week?
Wait, the theme?
What?
I think it's the 007 thing.
Oh, hey, yeah, 007.
007. Yes. Okay, so now we have a couple football-oriented questions.
Okay. Oh gosh.
So how do you think that Savion Flagg has done as QB1 this year?
I mean, I can't say much because I'm not playing, but it's been good. The games I went to, we won, so
yeah,
we're still
Savion.
winning. Good job.
So y'all think they should keep Savion Flagg as QB1?
Well,
Do you like pickles?
I think it's okay to have a little switcheroo every now and then. Yeah, I mean, if they want to keep him, power to ya. If you want to switch it up, power to ya.
Okay.
Either way, we're just here to support. As long as we're winning, I don't care who's in.
Yeah. Okay. And do y'all know who we're playing on Saturday?
No. Wait. No, I don't. ACU. We played them last. Oh, I didn't go to that game. I don't know who's playing ACU. No, I don't either.
That's okay. Did y'all know that it's Sam Houston's homecoming this week?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And do you happen to know the theme for the week?
Do not.
It's another 007,
Yeah.
Agent Sammy.
Yeah, Agent Sammy.
Agent Sammy.
And who are we playing on Saturday?
No clue.
I don't either. I need y'all to tell me the answer to that. Okay. And how do you think Savion Flagg is doing as QB1 this year?
I think he's doing all right. I've seen a few games. I think he's doing pretty good.
For the games I've seen, I think he's done pretty well, but I haven't watched a lot of games, so.
Awesome. So one thing that I kind of want to ruin, because you know it's 007 for homecoming. Do y'all know who Sammy the Bearkat is? You do?
Yeah.
I do too. That's all I know. I'll give the answer if you give the answer.
No way.
No way.
His secret identity.
You can't
You can't expose that?
You can't expose that.
Oh my.
Can't do that.
Cut the camera. Cut the camera.
Yeah, take your hat off. Take your hat off.
Okay. Alright, so did y'all know that it is Sam Houston's homecoming this week?
I did against Utah State, right?
We did. We'll be tailgating.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And what is the theme for this week?
What is the homecoming game?
I don't know.
It's 007, secret
Oh,
agent.
they'll have an advertisement.
Yeah, it's Sammy the secret agent, yeah. And how do y'all think Savion Flagg is doing as QB1 this year?
He's not the QB. It's Shoemaker. Shoemaker needs to learn how to throw a fade.
You're the first person to touch that today, so thank you.
I agree. I know nothing
Yeah,
about it.
okay.
If Shoemaker knew how to throw a fade, we could win some games.
Oh,
He got some legs, though. I'll give it that. I
okay,
have no
okay,
hair, so I can't say much.
okay. And do y'all know Sammy the Bearkat's identity?
Like the person?
Sam.
Sam?
Samuel Houston.
I know it.
You did?
Yeah.
I did.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so it's 007, so I'm not supposed to give his secret identity, but
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
we trust. Alright, well, thank y'all. And thank you for joining us on the last episode of Cat on the Street. Eat 'em up, cats.
Thank you guys. So Hunter, we recapped a bit of Media Day. We watched it over a bit and it was a bit of a somber one, you can say.
Yeah, it definitely was. You heard a lot of things that you don't usually hear from Casey Keeler. He was talking about the disappointment and the frustration after the loss to ACU last week. It was definitely a tone shift from what we've heard in the past from him. Obviously, like he said during the press conference, you know, losing is not part of the Sam Houston way. So you're not going to hear it a lot anyways from him because they win lots of games. But they did lose to ACU last week, and he shared his disappointment.
Yeah, and he gave his thoughts a little bit in the press conference on Media Day about his upcoming opponent with Southern Utah Trailblazers.
Had a lot of conversations with our staff and our players, and we prepared really well. I mean, we went back and looked at the practice tape and our notes afterwards, and we had zero worries about the preparation. They do a lot offensively, and you look at every game they've played, it's a 2-point game, a 4-point game, a 7-point game against everybody. You want to win this game. And we put so much into it. You know, you obviously not winning the game is you know, just it tears you apart. That's who we are as a program. Losing just tears us apart. You know, really, it doesn't go over well in our locker room. It doesn't go over well in our meeting areas. It doesn't go over well in that facility. So hoping to get Trapper. You know, there's another guy, and just an example. We're redshirting Trapper, and just because again, we probably could have played him 5 games. And now he loses a whole year. And we think Trapper has a lot of ability. I mean, he's really just coming into his own. So we're hoping to play Trapper a bunch this weekend too, you know, to kind of spell Keegan some, because he is, you know, dealing with a little bit of an elbow. So yeah, I love Keegan. Like I said, he battles and he gives you a chance to win every time he's out there. I mean, these are my kids. And losing a group of great seniors, some guys who are 1-year guys who came in and just really did a great job being part of the program, and other guys who've been with us for, you know, a long time. It will be very emotional. It really will be.
That was Coach Casey Keeler talking about what to expect here against Southern Utah this week. It's definitely going to be an interesting game, especially because it is the last FCS matchup that we're going to see from this team. And there's a lot to look forward to. There's also a lot of seniors on this team, which Coach Keeler talked about in his press conference, that are never going to put on a jersey again. So it's their last time. So a lot of emotion going into this game.
And you can tell in the Zoom call, I mean, we're obviously not there. We can't really tell for sure what the atmosphere was like around him, but you can definitely tell from his thoughts in a little bit that he was very emotional about it, and but he's ready to move forward.
Yeah, he talks about how this team is very much like a family, and every time they have to lose a senior, it hurts a little bit, but they are ready to send them off on a high note. Let's hear what Coach Keeler had to say. Okay, and then we can do like a wrap up, right?
Or talk. Well, there's one more. Like we'll look ahead to Southern Utah a bit. I got something.
Okay,
on my
all
phone.
right.
All right, that was Coach Casey Keeler on the seniors and moving forward into FBS. They're looking ahead to Southern Utah this Saturday. There was one particular thing that he said. There's going to be a bit of a shift in quarterback play. It seems like he is going to mix in Trapper Panel a bit, Hunter.
Yeah, Trapper Panel, obviously they want to get as many snaps as they can out of him against Southern Utah. They've been playing a lot of Jordan Yates this year, a lot of Keegan Shoemaker. And so it'll be interesting to see how Panel plays for the Bearcats. Obviously, a lot of upside to all of the quarterbacks this year. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and Keeler gave his thoughts about Trapper Panel and possibly redshirting him this year because he did not play 4 games.
Okay. You ready for the wrap-up?
Yep.
All right.
You got it.
All right, so that's everything from Casey Keeler from our media day. Lots to look forward to. A big season finale is coming up here in just a few minutes on this Saturday afternoon. Southern Utah versus Sam Houston right over there at Bauer Stadium. We're excited to see it. Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Hunter. Back to you guys.
All right, guys, it is now time for one of our favorite segments of the show, game predictions. So, what do y'all think? What do you think is going to happen? How do you think it's going to happen? Tell me everything.
I'll go first. I think this team is coming off of a tough loss. We're going to see potentially a new quarterback today, Trapper Panel. We're going to see a lot of people who usually weren't out there earlier in the year due to injuries. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think that the Bearcats are going to win this game. I do think that by how much is a more difficult question. I think the defense is struggling a little bit more due to injury and things like that. So I think that there is a possibility that they give up a decent amount of scoring today. As much as I love the Bearcats defense, I do think it's going to be windy. There's going to be a lot of sloppy play out there. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be a high-scoring game, 42-35. Sam Houston takes this one away right here in Huntsville. As far as actually, no. You know what? I'm going to amend that. I think we talk about Seth this year and his leg. I think he's going to put up a few field goals. Let's go ahead and say 45-35.
Okay. What about you?
So I have the complete opposite. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game strictly because of the weather. And also, Southern Utah, they average 21 points per game, and they also average around 360 yards per game. So I feel like with this weather, it's going to be shrunk down a little bit. 'Cause I don't think they haven't really been testing that weather yet. Even being from Utah, it's not really like rainy down there in August and September. So this will be a true test. I feel like Sam Houston State, they will tote the rock a little bit more, start giving to Desmond Jackson the running back room and stuff. And I think they're going to have Keegan Shoemaker just hit just the simple throws. It's going to be a little windy out there. Thunderstorms, the ball slippery. So I feel like this game is going to be 21-17, Sam Houston State.
I don't know. I think that there is a potential for that to happen. Although we saw it was Utah Tech that we played, and I actually got the chance to travel with the team for that, and they played in I want to say it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds. It was pretty bad, and they still looked very strong.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that it messed up Utah Tech's defense a little bit, how strong the wind was. So. I guess it really just depends on what the team is prepared for.
Right.
I know Coach Keeler and the coaches came into this afternoon's game preparing for these conditions to be bad. So that's why I think it'll be high scoring. So I'm sticking with my guns, 45-35.
I got to go with you, Hunter. I talked earlier in the show and earlier in the season about how the mojo was just a little different because you know, we had a whole new team, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I believe it was like 17 new players like in total, somewhere around there. And, you know, with new players and with some of the older players who've been here for a while, you got to figure out the dynamics. And with Jordan Yates being injured and not being able to play currently, and Keegan stepping up and all this other stuff happening, and especially taking into account the cold weather and it being a home game and homecoming. So there's higher stakes. And I feel like Casey Keeler has definitely realized that, hey, like we need to figure out leadership in this, and we need to come together as a team rather than individuals. And let's be honest, Keegan Shoemakers kind of likes to go for the long mile here.
He's like the go-to leader on the team, I think. Yeah,
yes, exactly. So I think it's definitely going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 35 to 22, Sam Houston. But, all right, guys, well, that is it for this episode of Bearkat Countdown. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. A huge shout out to everybody who has supported us this semester along the way. And a huge shout out to our professor, Professor Reed, who has really been the heart and soul of this. And our producers, Donovan, and then Zaria as well. Huge shout out to y'all for dealing with all of our craziness. And everybody behind the scenes, from people who are doing lower thirds to graphics to camera operators, y'all are amazing. We really appreciate you. And once again, we wouldn't be here without you.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. So it was a really well-oiled machine. So.
Yes. So once again, thank you so much, and eat 'em up, cats.
Thank you.